Cats, welcome back to Music Education for All, and today I want to talk with you a little bit about ways to help inspire the creative process as it applies to writing music. And this is something that Kevin and I have been talking a lot about over the last several months, and he went ahead and put out a little Facebook post asking all of our friends, a lot of professional musicians and composers, what their ideas were. And so what I did was I copied all of these answers, and now I just pasted them into this video. So there's some great ideas here, and it's worth checking out, and then feel free to add your ideas too. So we'll just go ahead, and I'll just read you what happened here. So here's Kevin's original question was some questions for all my musician pals. What are some of the processes for constructing compositions? Things that you do to get the juices flowing. Things you do to organize your sketches, motifs, mechanical processes you fall back on when inspiration is failing you. Do tell. So it's a great question. And there's some excellent answers here. First from Tim Carey, who's a great bass player, local bass player, composer, and I know Tim has some excellent YouTube videos, tutorial videos online for playing bass. Maybe I'll put that in the comments below. But he says, if you need to write something for work or because I've been asked and don't have anything on the burner, I usually start by choosing an appropriate style or aesthetic and imagining a rhythm section groove, which would be typical. Once I've got rhythm going, I sing until a suitable melody presents itself. And once the groove and the melody are flushed out, the rest is arranging. And this is different than how I do my music, which tends to show up unannounced and form quickly. So this answer, I think, is more along the lines of jazz composition, and Tim writes beautiful music. So interesting idea. Here's another one from Stephen Fondrick, who's a marvelous piano player, improviser, and composer. And Stephen says, improvise. Improvising is the surest way to music you couldn't have thought up. Tired of improvising? Then make up a reason to improvise non-stop for 4 hours. I find the long improv puts a sock in the mouth of the serious composer in my head, and the serious composer in my head is adept, but dangerously consumed by the architecture of a new piece, which I like, but is also too much of a naysayer. The improviser is quite the opposite, simple architecture and a propensity to say yes. So Stephen's idea is to improvise, and these are all great. Simon Henneman. I don't know Simon, actually. 3 almost surefire tricks that work for me. Go for a walk. Something about the rhythm, the movement, and the outside sounds always breaks up what I was stuck on in a good way. That works for me, too. So that's a great idea. I've written a lot of music outside. Put music on in another room at a volume that is barely audible and improvise. 99% success rate with this one. So another vote for improvisation. Transcribe something. The process involves a very specific type of listening that's really conducive for opening up my ears. Usually number 1 first and number 2 next, and sometimes nothing helps. Right? So good ideas here. Continuing on, Scott Adams, I regularly do ICS sessions. I actually looked that up, and I don't know what that means. So if anybody has an idea of what that is, go ahead and leave a comment. Have all your basic needs met so you don't need to go anywhere during a given day. Write music all day. Here's the most important part. Go for quantity, not quality. Generate tons of raw material, some great, some crap, some that can morph into other things. And the best stuff usually happens when your brain stops working rationally. You are now open to places you haven't been to before. So some really interesting ideas here to I think, what he's getting at mostly in the beginning of this is not being distracted. And there are a lot of distractions these days, especially with the internet and phones. Great ideas. Here's one from Yachty Durrant, an old friend of ours, fabulous composer, and who lives in the UK, I believe, these days. Anyway, Yachty says, I think the creative process of composition is a process that allows you to feel in the moment so that planning too far ahead too soon distracts you and misleads you. I usually start with a feeling of clarity, if that is attainable, before I attempt to write down any sketches. If that is possible, then sketch only a few notes as core impetus. I will process those very few ideas in every way I can think possible of, often for some time before I can consider moving on to developing a structure. Those successful processed core ideas need to be compatible with a macro structure. After that, if I understand the material correctly, I'll write intuitively and consequently, paying special attention to the spontaneous transitions that may occur as part of a composition preference. The rest is processing and flow, etc., etc. What is he talking about? I'm going to have to look at this again and see if I can figure that out, or if you have an idea what that all means. Anyway, moving on. Hopefully I can actually get something out of that. But moving on, lastly, to Dave Peck, who's a fabulous piano player, one of my favorite, certainly in Seattle, almost anywhere. Dave is a consummate musician. He teaches at Cornish College of the Arts and writes just beautiful music and is one of my favorite players. Anyway, try downhill writing, he says. It goes like this. Improvise a very short phrase, no more than 8 or so notes, with a simple harmonic structure, and quickly sketch the phrase on paper. Play that phrase and immediately improvise another short phrase, adding it to your sketch. Rinse and repeat until you think you've reached the end. Then, and only then, edit and flush out your sketch. It's important not to edit or improvise anything until the sketch is finished. And after the sketch is finished, you can do what you like to finish the piece. That thing just got copied there. Anyway, so this is more along the lines of sketches and adding things, and this is more, this is more of an idea of writing for jazz, I think. But please, cats, these are just ideas. There's not one way to do all this. And if you have ideas, please post them, because we really we need more to stay focused and to keep writing music. So, cats, thanks so much for watching, as always, and we will see you next time. Cheers.